I want to talk about Stoicism again for a second, because I think to go back to this crisis of men, I think when perhaps the reason that some people, there is some sort of elite sneering at Stoicism, it's associated with toxic masculinity. It does seem to be like that people associate Stoicism with a lack of emotions. I think there's a difference between being emotionless and being less emotional. But the idea that, the way forward in life, that the key to success, that being a man is stuffing those emotions down and not having them, that strikes me as a dangerous thing to tell young people, and also a dangerous way to live.
Yeah, look, so first off, I think the reason that your work resonates with people so much is not only because you're a compelling storyteller, but young men need guardrails. And the reason why I would assume your audience is predominantly male is that young men need guardrails. And fewer and fewer men have the guardrails of a relationship. Only 1 in 3 men under the age of 30 has a girlfriend. And it's interesting, 2 in 3 women under the age of 30 have a boyfriend because they're dating older, because they want more economically and emotionally viable men. They don't have religion as much. A lot of them don't have a male role model. We have the second most single parent homes in the world, behind Sweden. 1 out of 3 men has no contact with their kids at 6 years post-divorce. So you have a lot of kind of men who are just sort of wandering and looking for a code. They're looking for guardrails. And I think Stoicism, especially the way you present it in a very sort of optimistic, practical way, I think a lot of people are latching onto it because there's a void of what is a productive code or guardrails for me, or an ideology that I can hold to that can help me make better decisions in my life. And I think that's why Stoicism is resonating so much. As it relates to emotions, from the age of 29 to 44, I didn't cry. I didn't cry when I got divorced. I didn't cry when my mother died. I just literally forgot how. I don't know if it was because some weird sense of masculine men don't cry. I don't know what it is, but I literally just forgot how to cry. And then I started crying again at 44. I learned how. And what I would say is it's one of the nicest things that's happened to me in the last 15 years, because when something really moves me, I saw Hirsch Goldberg Pollen's mother give that eulogy on him, and it was so beautiful. And I was thinking about it. I was packing my son for boarding school on Monday, and his feet are now size 10, and I see these New Balance shoes, and he's wearing too much cologne, and he's got his first razor, and he's bought this vintage Adidas sweatshirt that he's so proud of, and I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking about the loss, the grieving parents, and I have to excuse myself because I get very emotional. I go out of the room and I think, well, I need to go back into the room to show him that it's okay to cry. But what I would tell men or young men is, if something moves you, try and lean into it and learn how to cry, because it's not like cathartic, but it informs what's important to you. Like I have figured out, because of my willingness to cry, what I think really moves me. Also try to figure out a way to laugh out loud a lot. That is really rewarding. But if you think about the advantage we have as sentient beings, especially humans, we have a larger range of emotions. And so to not really lean into your emotions, happiness, sadness, grieving, joy, laughter, is to not take advantage of your blessings as this species.
Yeah.
And also you become smarter. You become better at what you do. Why am I so moved by this content? Well, understand it. Why do you think it's so powerful? Why is it moving you this way? And then learn from it. Why are you upset about this? Okay, this is what's important to you. This is what offends you. Otherwise, you're just sort of, as I was through 29 through 44, I was just kind of sleepwalking through life. I didn't really feel anything. So men really need to get over this bullshit notion of masculinity as not showing your emotions. It is so important. And not only that, it's just so rewarding.
Yeah, we only have a couple of stories about Marcus Aurelius, the human being, not the philosopher. But I think it's striking that almost all of them involve him crying over victims of the plague, crying over the loss of one of his tutors. We even hear that he cries when he finds out he's going to be emperor, because it strikes him as this utterly overwhelming, impossible job. And it strikes me that when people talk about, men don't show their emotions, yet we see those men get angry all the time. So it's not that they don't have emotions. It's that the only emotion they are in touch with is their temper or their anger or their frustration. And Like if there is any emotion to work on controlling, it's your anger. And then it's these other emotions, compassion and love. Those are the kind of ones that you want to explore because those are enriching and they tell you something and they tell you, what you probably need and want more of in your life.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this because I'm writing a book on masculinity and I'm trying to figure out a way, just as you've used Stoicism as a means of developing a code or guidepost for people. I'm wondering if masculinity or a more aspirational form of masculinity could also serve a similar type of guidepost for young men.
Yeah.
Because we're built differently. We have more testosterone. People born as men are more prone to certain types of activities and attributes and women are born to their own set of attributes, which isn't to say women can't demonstrate wonderful masculinity and men can't demonstrate wonderful femininity. But I think we need to stop demonizing masculinity and re-embrace it and develop a more kind of aspirational tone of it. And I do think there's something about masculinity where you have a code and you speak up for yourself and there is a line. I mean, I went to a football match and these guys were in our seats and wouldn't move. And I got very, very angry and upset and my son was freaked out. And I'm glad he saw it. It was like, okay, I have a line and I get in people's faces. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens. And I thought, I'm actually glad that happened and that he saw that. At the same time, when someone cuts me off in traffic, when someone says something to me and is rude someone's rude to me on a plane or something in front of my boys, the person I was 20 years ago would have been like, I need to get back in their face. I need to restore harmony to the universe. No one gets the best of me. And I do think the real masculinity is that you're strong enough to kind of, on a regular basis, you take blows. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. You're going to be fine if someone gets the better of you every once in a while. You can take it. You're a man. You can absorb these blows.
Yeah, that your ego's not so fragile that you cannot, it's ironic we talk about snowflakes, sort of snowflakes being the people who can't deal with, controversial or provocative ideas and, the blah, 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 blah. And then there is this kind of snowflakeism of like, I can't be insulted. Who are you to say that to me? Why am I not getting the respect that I deserve? When you have a strong sense of self, to me, part of Stoicism is you become indifferent to what other people say and do around you because it doesn't affect or change what actually matters. The Stoics would say, the only way a person can harm you or the only way something harms you is if it harms your character. So if because someone does something to you and then you react in a way that is dishonest or mean or cruel or irrational, the harm that happened there was what you inflicted on yourself, not what they did to you.